On this episode, if you're not calling your customers, someone else is. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show. You know, we had a story, and I'm gonna have Ben talk about it. We have a little story here, but you know, it reminds me that if you're not calling your customers, someone else is. And you have to keep tabs on your customers, you have to follow up, you have to always be there. And no matter what happens, sometimes you follow up and you know, maybe there's an upset or you know, whatever. But you know, in sales, you can get some back off. You can sort of pull back a little bit from calling and reaching out and putting it there all the time, and then they don't hear from you, and then someone else is calling them, and next thing you know, they're doing business with someone else because you become sort of obscure or not relevant to some degree, or you really haven't serviced them. And I think when you follow up with them and you keep tabs on them and you keep checking on them, that's a form of servicing them. That's a form of taking care of them, and it's really, really, really important to do. And years ago, I remember reading an article about something to that effect. There was a company that said, you know, if you're not calling your customers, someone else is. And it's so true. And I think we're guilty of, like, you get busy and you keep working to sell new people and new customers that are in front of you now, or you're searching for new business or whatever. But some of your most fruitful business is your current customers, your customers that are there now, and you have to be taking care of them. You have to be following up. You have to be servicing them. They got to hear from you. You got to email them, yes, but you got to call them, send them letters, send notes, and things like that. But touch base with your customers, because you'd be amazed the level of business that's there. And often when you do it, they're like, wow, we were just talking about you, or wow, we have this need, you have impeccable timing, I can't believe it. And I swear, so much business is literally just left on the table because salespeople are busy hunting new business, and they're not servicing their old business or their existing business or their past customers. And you know, so I'm gonna let Ben talk about it, but we had a little story today, and I'll let you kind of dive into it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. A great little success story today on what happened. So without going into too much detail about what happened at first, so about a year ago, maybe even a little more than a year ago, great client, tons of work. We'd been, you know, churning out great products for them. They loved us. And so then I reached out to other parts of their very large company, and I did it in a way that I did not know. I unwittingly created a lot of upset, and there was no intention behind it. I was super excited about our work. I thought other people would be excited about our work, and for one reason or another, it created a very, very big upset, to the point where these wonderful clients of mine, who I have no problem with and no blame of any kind, they wanted me to be let go from Richter. Like, that's how bad it was. They were like, we'll remain a client, but Ben's got to go. Like, it was that bad. So we worked it over and worked everything out, and, you know, continued to deliver the remainder of what they had purchased. Yeah. Great products. You know, it gave them even more than they had paid for, just to, like, make sure everything was fine. We smoothed everything out. I wrote an apology letter, because, I mean, it was an upset that I'm like, I couldn't believe I'd caused. Right? It was no intention of any kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it caused so much of a bad effect over there that, anyway, so I wrote a letter, and they're like, thank you for the letter, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so then over the last year plus, I've definitely, you know, Rob's been like, how is so-and-so doing? What's happening with them? And I'm like, I wrote them an email, you know, and I felt so backed off, because I would never want to cause that kind of upset, and I did. And so I'm like, oh, they probably don't like me, blah. So yesterday, there they are. They're one of my best clients, despite not having done really anything new in a year. And so I'm like, I wrote them an email, you know, would love to help, and, you know, here's some new work and blah. And then Robert asked me today, how about that? You know, he just out of the blue, and I'm like, I told him, you know, it's been about a year since I've talked to anybody. Yeah. Wrote an email yesterday, you know, and he's like, I know you're going to say no to this, but would you like someone else to handle that account? No. No, I would not.
Gotta ask, you know?
So he asked that. No, I would not. I will call her right now. So I get on the phone, and she says, You know, I've just yesterday, before you emailed, was talking about you and about Richter, and we've done work since the whole upset. We've done work with 2 other companies, and she goes, I don't want to say anything bad about them. They did fine work, but it's not what you guys do. And the point is just this, like, so now we have a great new package, and we're, you know, it's looking very beautiful, and we have a great chance of winning this business back and becoming essential to what they're doing again. And the whole thing just smoothed over. Yes, it came up again. We talked about it again, what had happened, and but she even was like, you know, let's just leave it at that. You know, it's long behind us, blah blah blah, and it was fine. But the thing is, you know, I didn't just face up to it. There's no, I mean, yes, causing an upset like that never feels good, especially, you know, I've got only a few things going for me as a salesperson. One of them is my cheerfulness and my persistence and my follow-up, and I don't really have a heck of a lot more going on for me. So I felt totally deflated and defeated on the ways in which I go about my business, right? So, but during that time, yeah, other people had won business from them and did a fine enough job to do some work. Ultimately, they want Richter back because we're a cut above for the price, for the time we put in, and for the quality we do. There's really not competition out there. That's a plug for us. But but anyway, that's the basic story. Is if you don't follow up and service your customers despite any reason, or smooth over the upsets and really sort them out so that they're done and everyone can move on, you're gonna lose business, and they created content that they're not as proud of. So to that degree, I let them down on that count.
No question. You know, so just keep it close in mind. Like if you're not calling, list out your key accounts, list out your customers, your past customers, different things like that. And you like make a point, even if you create an upset. Number 1, own it fully. Number 1, own it fully. Number 2, never cease to communicate.
And that's what was hard for me on owning it fully, was that, and I didn't blame them for being upset. I simply didn't know. It was sheer ignorance as to how my error was made of business and how certain institutions work. Like I just had no clue. And so I went in and caused a big mucky upset, right? So, but I didn't sit back and blame them. And don't ever blame your clients almost for anything. Like there's no sense in it.
Yeah, it's pointless.
It doesn't put you in a position to do anything about anything. Yeah. But what I also didn't do was I just was like, cool, so I guess I hope they come back at some point and I'll keep sending them emails. You know, I was just like defeated.
Like that's lost. Well, that was lost. But you know, you do have to fight for your customers. You do have to fight to win your accounts and keep them a customer. And even though some things are going to be awkward, you've got to push through that. And you got to own, if you make a mess up or whatever, own it entirely. Don't propitiate. I'm not saying
don't go,
you know,
I'm so bad.
You know, oh, I'm so bad. But own it, apologize, and move on. Keep in tight communication. Keep the communication, more communication, not less. Don't back off the communication. Work to service them. Just continually work to service them, and you'll keep winning them over. And as long as they keep hearing from you and you keep calling them, you know, and you stay there, you can keep them connected. But when you stop calling them, they cease to hear from you. You cease to exist, and they go find somewhere else, and somebody else calls them, and now they're working with them. And that money, that business, whatever you want to call it, that business that's servicing those things that you're providing for them, it's there sitting on the table, and you know it's kind of yours to lose, you know, and if you care about your customers and you care about the work that you do and you care about all those different things, then it's worth keeping and it's worth earning them, because it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier to service and keep doing business with your customers than it is to go and find and dig and get new ones.
It's true. You know, it's a funny thing, like Robert points out to the sales team, and this is a hard truth to swallow, and it is, if with a brand new prospect, no matter what they are saying, we're totally about to sign off. We're totally, like, we're in. Until that signature's on the dotted line, you have nothing as a salesperson, and you have nothing to lose. So any efforts you make, any positive efforts you make in order to win them as a client, you may as well go all out. But when you have a client and they've been serviced well and you're delivering great products and the exchange with them in terms of what they're paying you for it is good, you do have something to lose.
You do.
So at that point, you do have something to lose. You got to work not to lose that and to earn it all the time.
Earn it all the time and keep earning it. You know, and that means service them. That means like take good care of them. That means deliver incredible products. That means stay in communication. That's a part of servicing them, and build out that relationship, right? Because you know what goes into making a new account, and then to keep an account, it's like you got to keep the communication there. So I think that's a key lesson. I think make sure that they are hearing from you, because if they're not hearing from you, they are hearing from someone else, right? And that's a really that should keep you up at night. So metaphorically
there you have it.
Worry an enormous amount. Anyway, that's all we have. We'll have more coming at you soon.
Service your clients and don't worry, so you don't have to worry. Service. Make sure they hear from you.
Yes. All right. Subscribe to the show. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter @TheQuarterShow, #TheQuarter, and we'll more coming at you tomorrow. All right. Bye.